So this is the finished look of your parting for your 4 feed-in braids that we're going to be doing. And if you see how I angled it in the front, left her little edges out. Her hair is thinner in the front areas, so you guys know, for the ones that's working with thinner hair, that's a good thing. We're learning how to braid with thinner hair. So as you can see, we molded off our first section. This is the section that we're going to be braiding first. I use an edge control for the front, an edge wax for the back, and a shine and jam to add in the middle to clean up parts, to braid down. Those are the products that I am using on this style. So I added my edge wax and I'm doing my molding. So right now our section is ready for the braid down. With the tail end of my comb, I'm going to part off like an inch of the front section. This front section that we parted off, this is where we're going to start off our braid. We are going to split this into 3 equal pieces. Take the tip of your nail, comb, or some type of braiding tool. When you are creating your stitch, you want to make sure that you're only stitching on the side that you're braiding on. You don't want your stitches to be too small, but your braid is too far down. You want to keep your stitches wherever your braid is. Even if you want your stitches to be wide, you want to make that's for somebody that braids a little longer. When you braid like me and you braid tight together, you want your stitches to kind of be on a small side. So right now, as you see, when I'm stitching, you want to stitch that part up and you want to put it inside of your braid and continue your braid. You're going to do the same exact thing with the other side. When you're pulling your stitch, when you create your stitch, you're going to put the other hair to the back so that you won't get the hair mixed up with your braid. Right there, you see that I'm tightening up my braid. My braid is not too tight. The client hair is not tight at all. So after I have created a stitch, I'm going to add a pinch size piece of braiding hair, and then I'm going to continue my braid, and then I'm going to stitch on the opposite side. Now when I get back to the right side, I'm going to add that piece of hair with my braid, and then I'm going to continue the same pattern. So her hair is not that thick, so I'm going to be adding more hair to her braid. Now keep in mind, if this client hair was thicker, much thicker, you wouldn't be adding that much hair. Normally when a client hair is really thick, I don't add hair until I start ending my braid. But when a client hair is thinner, you want to start adding hair immediately because you don't want it to be too big, depending on if that's what the clients want. My braids are normally not too big and they're normally not too small. I keep it at an average size. So I normally just start adding very small amounts of hair in the beginning, and then you'll see when I'm ending my braid, my pieces will start getting a little thicker. A lot of people ask me, how do I know how much hair to add? I don't count how much hair I add in the client's hair. I normally just go by the amount of hair that my client has. So that's how I normally go decide how much hair I'm going to add to the client's hair. If the client is thin, I'm going to add more hair. When you are parting off your stitches, you want to make sure your parts are straight. Just like if you was parting for your foundation to get ready to start your braids, your stitches should also be straight as well. So at times you want to comb through some shine and jam or whatever product of your choice. You want to comb it through your client's hair because sometimes the natural hair starts to frizz up as you're braiding. So sometimes you will see that I will comb through some shine and jam with my client's hair to stretch out the client's hair and help the braid blend better with the braiding hair. So you want to take your time and try to stitch as much as you can. I try to stitch all the way to the back. Depending on how thick the client hair is will determine how much you can stitch. If the client hair is really, really thick, sometimes the stitch will start to go away because you can't create the stitch because the client hair is too thick. But in this case, I can stitch as much as I can all the way down. So I'm going to stitch all the way down till I'm done with my braid. So as you can see, after doing the braids, we did not add much hair to the ending of the braid so that when we do our bun is not too thick and it's not on the client's neck. It's comfortable, because sometimes buns can be uncomfortable if they're too big and bulky. So we didn't add that much hair to the actual ends. We didn't want to add too much hair. And then we're going to go through and we're going to cut the split ends before we dip the hair a little bit, because once you cut the split ends and dip your hair, we're going to wrap it up into a ponytail. So now I'm going to wrap up my bun, and as you can see as I'm wrapping that I'm not going to make the bun too tight, because again we want to make sure the client is going to be comfortable on the client's neck. So I'm not going to make it too tight because we don't want to put no extra tension on the back of the client's head. After you've been unwrapped your bun up, I'm going to sew it together with some needle and thread. So the last thing we do after we have done the style, we have sewed the bun together. I normally do my edges last. My client's edges depends on them. I always let them decide on if they want dramatic edges, simple edges, no edges left out at all. It all depends on them. So I let them decide. So right now this client actually just want a little bit, not too little, not too much left out. So that's what I'm doing now. After you're done, you're going to add your mousse. You're going to put them under the dryer. All of those extra little good things, spray it down with some holding spray or some sheen, and then the client style will be complete.